Good evening. I'm Connie Davidson, and I am the district captain for District 18, which is Shawnee area. We're divided into the representative districts of Kansas. That's how, when we talk about the different districts for Convention of States, it's divided by your Kansas representative district. This district in here, David always knows which one this is, but up in Shawnee, it's like, it goes Lenexa 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. It goes over across to Merriam. And so down in here, it gets 20, 25, and you get into your different districts. So you need to know what your districts are, okay, to really understand who's running in your district and who you need to be voting for. The candidates have all signed up now. And so the campaigning will be starting for your different districts. I can only speak for District 16 through 25. They're all Democratic. We don't have any support for Convention of States. And 20 is in like Old Leawood, that area, kind of up Prairie Village. So kind of, I call it North Johnson County, okay, in that area. You get down further south, we have more support. But we've been block walking in 15. We have a couple candidates running in there. We're block walking in 16, which we have candidates running against one of the, in there. We have a candidate against Joella Ella, who, all of those up in Upper Johnson County do not support us at all, zero, and will not. 25, he is, Ben calls him a communist, a Chinese communist. I mean, he is way far left. We have some very interesting candidates around this area. But anyway, so if you see yes, state, House, and Senate. The problem that Convention of States has mostly to get passed is in the House. And that's because Kansas has a law, the only law in the United States, that you have to have 2/3 majority to pass a resolution to join the convention. We are the only state that has that. And the Senate bypassed that rule. They can do that and voted not to just a simple majority. The House will not do that because the House, even though it is supermajority Republican, it is not. It's uniparty. It is not. I mean, on paper they're Republican, okay, but we have 10 very staunch Republicans that do not support Convention of States. We have, and it's various reasons. The majority of the reason. Is for about 5 of them is that they're big government people. They take money for education and Aggies, okay? The rest of it is kind of, they're afraid. They think they don't know what their job is. Their job has been changed. Their job has been changed so much over the years, in the last 100 years, starting back with Wilson. They didn't understand anymore that it was really the states that ran the government, not the government that ran the states. And the U.S. Congress, not only the U.S. Congress has forgotten, but our Kansas representatives and senators have forgotten that they really are supposed to run the federal government, and they have to be retaught that and to learn that. And what they think is that you're going to have a runaway convention and that we're going to lose our Constitution. What they don't know is we've already lost our Constitution, and we have to bring it. And what Convention of States is about bringing back our Constitution to what it originally was. Instead of a document this big now, it needs to be back to a document that, and you can only do that. We are a convention of amendments. We are not a constitutional convention. And that's a big thing because they use that at words. You know, they're so good with using words, but it's not a constitutional convention. A constitutional convention has was used when we formed our Constitution. A Convention of States was proposed and done when they had to act the Bill of Rights and amendments. That was used when we did that piece of it early, and then the amendment processes that was used later. And people who support convention, they have to understand it's a convention of amendments. Okay, a convention of amendments. In the Constitution, it actually, the fifth Article 5 really calls it a convention of amendment convention. So it's the way it's supposed to, it's wording, okay? So you're going to have to make amendments to bring the Constitution back to where it was and the way it was supposed to be, okay? So usually we will start with the Pledge of Allegiance, and if you are a veteran, you can go ahead and stand. And if you're a veteran, you there's been a rule for a long time that you can go ahead and salute. So we'll start with that, okay? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Rabbi, pray. And our wonderful Rabbi.
Well, thank you, Connie. You're the wonderful one that's putting all this energy. I'm just saying, okay. So, Lord, we just look to you. We look to you that you are the maker of life. You're the creator of life. And you're the creator of law and love and truth. And so, Father, right now, we have a government that's run away to destruction in many directions, and we have the ability to at least reform two issues, finance and overreach. And so, Father, we just pray that you'd prosper this convention, help in this film, that it would speak to us, speak to our hearts, and build us up in your truth, and just bless in Yeshua's name, the name of the Messiah, that we'd stand for you. For you said, you're the one who said, you will know the truth, the truth, and the truth will make you free. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. I had a couple things here yet that the next meeting will be July 27th, and we're going to talk a little bit more about block walking for COS. And I've been going to show some videos on capitalism, totalitarianism, fascism, and Marxism. And I want to help people understand. They're all one and the same. They all lead to the same thing. But these words are thrown around. And the left uses words. And you have to understand the words and what it is to even talk, They're always wanting to call us fascists, and I want people to really understand. And for the Jewish congregation, that's a very bad word, but they were communists. I mean, they were Marxists. It just was another way of doing it. So that's what I'm planning to do next time. Okay. Remember that the goal of a COS is to form a large grassroots arm that can reestablish the Founding Fathers' Constitution through amendment process given to us in Article 5 of the Convention of the Constitution. And they gave us this because they knew we were going to end up in our present soft totalitarian process that we're in now. And it's amazing to think that they really knew that, They gave us two ways to amend our Constitution. Congress does not want to use that amendment process anymore. They will not use it. It's too bulky. They don't want our input. And so our founders gave us a way of doing it through our states. But we have to re-educate our Congress people to understand that that's their job. They in the founding, when there was 13 colonies, none of them, it's amazing they even got together because they were all founded on different things, and they were very individualistic, and they were had their own ideas of all kinds of things, not just religion, but they came together in one thing, and that is that they wanted to rule themselves and be themselves, and that's what will reunite us, I think, today, because that's what we want. Tonight, I want to show the video of Mark Meckler This is at North Carolina COS Fest, and I just really think he touches on a lot of things in this talk. He's very articulate. He's the founder. He was also the founder of the Tea Party, and he'll talk a little bit about that. But he talks on a lot of things in this that I think a lot of us have questions about, and you wonder how he can keep going when he's been pounded like he's been pounded, and the losses he's had. But I think it really does cover so many aspects of the convention. And usually I just say a few words. I usually recommend a book. And the book I want to recommend this month is based on, and the reason I'm doing this is it's based on the Supreme Court decisions that we've had this last week. And we have had a few wins from the Supreme Court this week, though I don't really think we can consider them wins yet because the media is doing everything possible and the left's doing everything possible to put a negative light on most of it. The freedom of religion, the right to bear arms. I mean, that's a first and second of the Constitution. I mean, you know, and the important Roe versus Wade. So I want to recommend this book. It's called Saving Nine, and it's by Senator Mike Lee, who won his primary again last night. He's a senator from Utah, and his father was general. Anyway, he's like, what's that word called? Anyway, he was like not over the Supreme Court, but he was like very involved in the Supreme Court process and representative of the federal government. And I forgot what that word is, but he's amazing. And he's written this book, and it's a historical review of the formation of the Supreme Court and its different phases that it's gone through. And it'll help you understand and defend the rulings and because of what's happening now. And what it's not, I mean, reversing Roe is phenomenal. But what that really means is what this is really about. It's going back to being what the Supreme Court was supposed to be. They were not supposed to be political. They're supposed to interpret the Constitution if the law is for or against, if the law is constitutional or not. But over the years, especially since Woodrow Wilson, especially since FDR, the court has not been, they've become more and more political, and the decisions were made more and more on what they call a fluid Constitution, that it's not a concrete document. It is a concrete document. And so anyway, it's easy read. If you really want it, you could finish it in a day. It's a really good read, and it gives you some resources into some, if you want to look into it more. But I think I read a book numerous years ago, but this one really, he wrote it about a year and a half ago when he started seeing what was happening with our present regime, and he got very concerned because we haven't about court packing, and he started getting very concerned again. So. Lastly, if anyone is interested in the block and walking, just let me know. And the last thing I want to say is that we really, as patriots, we need to celebrate the 4th of July. Please put your flags out. Please, please, we are the freedom marchers. We have to let everybody in this country know that we are the majority, and we do that by proclaiming the 4th of July. So please, some way or another, whatever you wear, whatever you do, it's extremely important this year. I don't think it could be any more important. So now we can go ahead and this the presentation, it is about 50 minutes, but I don't know if we'll watch it all because towards the end we may cut it off. But we'll go ahead and start with Mark Meckler's film. Anybody have any comments or any comments? Oh, you thought it?
Aren't they having another convention? I mean, like a national COS convention?
It's called a summit, and the summit is in just a minute, October. It's the I don't know if I had a calendar. It's towards the first. It's towards the first week of October, and it goes like Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So you can actually go to conventionestates.com, and it's on there. And they have a lot of national speakers. I believe Mark Levine is one of them that's going to speak this year. Again, he spoke when they had the what he's talking about when they were in. When they did kind of a simulated convention, Mark Levine talked then at that one. So, as he says, there's a lot of, you can go on to conventionestates.com, and there's lots and lots of videos on there from various leaders. He mentioned Mike Ferris. Ferris is on there. He's still very active in Convention Estates, but I believe he's the president of Hillsdale now, maybe. I'm not sure exactly where, but he's a constitutional lawyer, and there's several videos on there where he debates John Birchers. He's debated various people, so he's very, very knowledgeable. Also, the big lawyers are on there. So at that site, it's just a wealth of information. And Mark does hold his Sunday night. He does go home, but he has a thing that he does Sunday night, which is pretty good. So I like this video. I've watched it 3 or 4 times, and since it came out. And also Mark Green is another big person that you might want to go and watch. He's a big COS person, but he's the one who does the biblical constitution, the one who does the Bible, the biblical constitution series. And his name is Green, Mike. Yeah, and Mark Green is the one who does the biblical series, and it's really worth taking. It's all based on and when he talked about the monument, that is outstanding. It's in Massachusetts. If you ever get back there to see it, but you can. On one of the first videos of the biblical series, they show the monument, and it's just everything of God and bringing our Constitution together and us as people. It's in this monument. It's huge, big in Massachusetts. But anyway, those are just some resources, and I want to thank everybody for coming. And if I don't know you, please come up. We're gonna get involved as much as you can. We're all busy. I don't know what you have to know your districts. That your Kansas districts is how we function the best, so that I can help you. If my cards are back there, I can help you if I know your districts and what's going on in those districts. And we are getting close to the primaries, and after the primaries, we are walking some districts to support those primary candidates. We can't do it as COS people. It's as you as an individual. But if they happen to ask you when you go to the door, does this candidate, you can tell them yes, this candidate does support COS, or yes, but you can't do it directly. Yes, Rabbi. Yes.
I guess most of you live in Kansas, and there's a vote coming up. We're not going to have another meeting before August 2nd. And the wonderful Supreme Court decision that happened last week means nothing in Kansas unless we can pass that amendment. So please, please vote for the value them both amendment. Please be registered. If you're not registered, you can come up here and repent, and we will pray with you. But seriously, we need to be voting for that amendment. That will enable us to really have some anti-abortion legislation.
But it's August 2nd. You'll be gone. Okay. Oh, okay. If you're talking, and let's say you're walking for COS, we walk for COS looking to hand out information and to get people to sign the petition, okay? But when you're walking for a candidate, like say in your district, you want to walk for a candidate that maybe supports COS, okay? You can't wear your COS t-shirts, you can't do any of that. You're walking for the candidate, okay? That's because COS is a nonprofit, 501c, right? And so we're nonpartisan, you know. So but we can walk for ourselves for candidates. And if you go to the door and somebody says, "Does John Doe? Does he support? What does he support?" We can. You know, we can say, well, what specific areas are you interested in? And they say, well, I'm interested in the Convention of States. I want to get this passed. You can, you know, then say yes, you know, but you can't go to the door and say, I'm representing John Doe on behalf of Convention of States. You can't do that. You know, that's you cannot do. Uh-huh. That's the petition. Yes, you can do it online, and then that immediately gets back to Kansas, and then we file it, and it goes directly to your representative. In your district, and your senator in your district, and then you also get a letter from us. You know, where do you live? I live right over here. Okay. I don't know the districts in this area because I'm Upper Johnson County, and I'm not. What do you know? What district this is in? I don't. And I was going to bring my book tonight, and I forgot. I just. Yeah, you can go online. You can go to kansaslegislation.com.org and put your name and address in there, and it'll come tell you where your district, who they are, and everything. But we send you a letter that tells you who they are, and most of the times we tell you whether they're COS supporters or not. And I think here Mike Thompson is still your senator. It divides right in this area, real close. So I'm not quite sure, you know, but. Mm-hmm.
You might tell some of these people that could go around in their neighborhoods and their friends, and usually for me, I look to see who's got the flag out. Oh yeah, who's got the signs, you know, the signs out.
Yeah, that's a.
And then there's little packets that they make.
Yeah.
Packets that have that form, and then a little brochure. I wouldn't overwhelm them, but give them
Yeah.
pieces, and those are available.
Mm-hmm. We have a state director of block walking now. So actually, really and truly, I mean, if it comes through there and you mark volunteer on your form, all that says is that we're going to contact you a little bit more and say, what are you interested in doing? Are you interested in, and they'll get a little bit more, you know, it's not like you have to be a district captain like me or, you know, anything like that, which is not a big job either. But, well, we want precinct people. Right. And when we get closer to election, we're going to have a report card available for the candidates, and that report card is going to have very specific information on it about all the candidates, you know, checkmark kind of an index. I'm not going to call it that like Utah has. Utah has a wonderful system. They've done an index system in there if you're interested in reading about how they have turned that state. They are a very Republican state, but they're not. They're a unistate. They do not. The same thing like he was talking about. As soon as they get elected, they turn their backs and don't listen to anybody. And so they've gotten real good at getting candidates elected who are, people candidates, or what is the word they're using now? Well, I don't like to use that word, but anyway, they're true candidates. They're true Republicans, and they figured out an index and in this index, they fill it out, and it comes up with a number, and these candidates get a number, and that number tells them how conservative they are, and it's based on true conservativeness. And I was just listening to some podcasts this week on it. I sent it to Ben, and I thought, oh, wow, they have really, they're just, it's a mathematical thing, but it's working, and they have really turned Utah and gotten some really good candidates in there, and turned. The only one they haven't been able to turn yet is their governor, but. Anyway, so it's really interesting, and that's also Mike Lee, who wrote the book that I was talking about, the one on Saving Nine. He's from there. So anyway, there's lots of things going on. People are, but I hear the same thing all the time. I have 285 people in my district. I'm District 18. I send out stuff, and I very seldom hear back even a word. I just sent out a thing wanting block walkers, and I didn't hear back from one person. I call them individually. So, I don't know what to say, but I'm not giving up either. I'm just saying that it's hard because people seem to always say, I'm busy, but you always have an hour in a day. So anyway, that's when they come to the door and they say they're busy. I say, do you have an hour? And they said, well, yeah. And I said, well, why don't you let me call you, or something like that. But anyway, thanks you guys for coming. It's good to see everybody. And we'll meet back in July, and we are going to talk about the different types of communism. It's always on the 4th. Mine is always on the last Wednesday of the month. The last Wednesdays. Mm-hmm.
Another thing, you might you talk to some of your neighbors that you know that don't know anything about this. Mention that that last, this.
Yeah. When it's an individual invitation, it works. It probably works a little bit better. But we're all busy. I know. I totally understand. So.
Join us the last Wednesday of the month.
Yeah, we try to. There are a couple other